kind of anticlimactic, and I was like, nice. Hello, hi, I'm Satshya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And today I wanted to talk about the Special Marriage Act and my experience with it, because I got married under the Special Marriage Act in October this year. The Special Marriage Act is an act in India that allows two people from two different religious backgrounds to get married to each other. And the reason why there's something like that in place is because most of the marriage acts in India are based on religion. So you have the Hindu Marriage Act, Christian Marriage Act, Muslim Marriage Act, etc. And according to these acts, you have to follow a certain number of rituals that is prescribed by this religion in order to be considered to be married. And then later on, you can come and register your marriage in the court. So the Special Marriage Act is helpful for those who do not want to get married with any religious rituals, or maybe you both belong to different religions. And three, you could be someone who just doesn't want to do anything at all. You want a very simple court marriage. And so you can get registered under the Special Marriage Act. So let me tell you the process of how it works. So first you have to file your application online. Because my partner is from Delhi, we decided to get it registered in Delhi. That's an important caveat, that you can get it registered in a place only where you or your partner has been a resident for a certain number of years. So we got it registered in Delhi. So we went to the Delhi government website and they have a portion where you can apply to register your marriage. So you fill in the application form. They ask for details like your name, your address, date of birth, etc. They also ask for supporting documents, so like your Aadhaar, passport, driver's license, PAN card, whatever you want you can give. I would suggest giving as many documents as you would like, because if you just select one document, there is a possibility that they'll ask you for more later on. So now, in order to avoid that, just upload, I would say, your passport, Aadhaar, and voter's ID. If you don't have a voter's ID, driver's license will do. After that, you also have to supply the names of 3 witnesses. In our case, it was 3 of our parents, but you can also ask any of your friends. You also have to supply their documents as well. And then once you submit the application, step number 2 is to get an affidavit. Now, an affidavit basically acts as a document that swears that whatever information you've given in the application is true, you are not lying, and if you are caught lying, you are liable to a legal punishment. So how you get your affidavit done is you can go to a lawyer. In our case, we went to the local court that was nearby, which was this huge room full of lawyers. So it was easy to find someone. We just went to them. We got them to fill in the affidavit, which basically said something like, gave all our details. I'm a citizen of India. I swear that I am of legal age. I swear I don't have a living spouse, and all of these other details. And then they get it. You have to sign it, and then the lawyer notarizes it. So once you have your printed application form, you have your affidavit that's been notarized, you go to your SDM office. Now you pick your SDM office which is closest to where you live. Now when you go there, I remember that it opens at around 10 a.m. but we went there around 9 a.m. and we were waiting because we wanted to be first in line, because it's notoriously crowded. It takes a lot of time, so it is very good if you go early and ahead of time. So first, I remember we entered, and then we had to go wait at a counter. We were waiting for the counter to open. Once we opened, they just took us look at all our documents, and then they asked us to go to the SDM's office, which is another block away. So we walked there, and then when we went there, there were already people who were waiting. So then we got a token number, and there wasn't much place to sit. So if you are going, be ready, go with comfortable shoes, go in like cotton clothing, because there are fans here and there, but it's not a very comfortable place to be in. So dress as comfortably as you can, be prepared to wait for a long time. After a while, they call you in and they check your documents. Now this always happens, and this happened in our case as well. It happened in a case of a couple of friends of mine, where when they look at your documents, they will tell you, okay, like this is not there or that is not there. We need an extra photocopy of this. We need an extra photocopy of that. So in our case, they needed another 2 sets of photocopies of some documents. So again, we had to go to a place, Xerox place nearby, photocopy it, come back, again wait in line. So I would suggest definitely go with at least 5 copies of every document, literally every document. Anything that you have submitted as evidence, like your Aadhaar, passport, your witness documents also, just keep copies of everything, because they will ask for multiple copies. The second thing was that our affidavit, they said, was not in the correct format, which is confusing, because a lawyer, a lawyer himself drew up our affidavit, right? It's not like we made it up on our own. But there was some line, 2-3 lines that were missing that said, I confirm that I'm of sound mind. But there were 2-3 lines missing, which they asked us to go and look at the notice board and do the affidavit exactly like how it was. So then we went out, we found another lawyer, we got the affidavit done quickly, got it notarized again according to their format, again came back. Waiting. So then again we came back with all of our documents. Then they check all of it. Then they take photos of you with your webcam. So make sure you look a bit presentable. Then there is someone who checks your documents against your originals and then signs. Then once all of their signatures are there in that folder, then they give it to another official in the SDM's office who then checks it again, asks you a couple of questions. Like for us, they didn't ask a lot of questions. They were just like, oh, where are you from? Okay, y'all want to get married. Okay, how old are you? Like, no intrusive questions, no personal questions. It was just like regular conversation. They just checked all of our documents and they signed, and then we had to go to another office to submit the final folder. But before we did that, we had to update something through the application online. But the internet, there was some problem. It was not working through the phone. So we had to go home and again do it. So it was a very long day. But finally, we were able to come back to the office on time, which closed by around 4:35. We were able to come back to the office with all the documents, all the printouts, all the signed copies. And when we gave it to the counter, then they told us that, okay, all of this looks good. There's going to be a notice that's going to be sent to both district magistrates in Delhi as well as in Bangalore, where I live. And it's going to be displayed in the SDM board, and it's going to have your details like, say, this person wants to get married to this person, these are their details, and if anybody has any objection to it, please bring it to the DM's notice for about 30 days. And I have very mixed feelings about this, putting your personal details up there. Although I do know that it is in order to prevent any fraud from happening, in the sense that there are some people who are not legally separated but they still want to get married, and polygamy is not allowed in India. So that's a way to make sure that both parties are in the know and safe from any kind of fraud. But also putting your private details out there, like your name, your address, who you want to get married to, in the public domain is quite scary, especially if you are doing it especially if you are doing it as an interreligious couple, because there are so many cases of people getting beaten up, marriages getting stopped, people being harassed both physically and emotionally because they choose to get married to someone outside of their religion. I also know that there are people who are fighting to get this particular clause removed from this act, but I don't know. I do not face any problem personally, but that could just be me. I do know of people who have faced issues. So I would say if you are someone who is a little apprehensive about this part, I didn't face any issue, but I did not feel comfortable about having my home address being displayed publicly on a notice board. But that was something I had to do because I wanted to get this marriage done. So what happens with that notice is that notice is put for about 30 days, and if there is no objection, then 30 days later you can come to the DM's office and get married. It's an important part that you can't just show up to the court and be expect to be married that very day. You have a 30-day waiting period, and only after that can you get married. So it's not like if you get registered in July, you can get married in December. No, you should get married within like September. Otherwise it'll lapse and you have to file another application. So keep all of these things in mind and plan ahead according to the date that you want to get legally married on. So we filed all of this application. Now the only thing that was left to do was find the actual date when we wanted to get legally married. Now we were told that this is very uncertain because sometimes it could be that the SDM doesn't show up that day, that they have a meeting, they're called on something important, and then you just show up and you have to come back another day. So which is why a lot of people advised us against having like the registered marriage in the same day and having an event on that night and to consider it a wedding day, because it's very likely that it wouldn't happen on the same day. So even when we had to plan the day that we wanted to get our registered marriage done, we did it in such a way that we picked a day where we would have a few buffer days before the event. So even if this day didn't work out, we could run this day. Another important thing is the court is only open, or this thing where you can register your marriage is open only on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And also if there's any public holiday, it's closed. So if you go on a Monday, it doesn't work out, go on a Wednesday. It doesn't work out, go on a Friday. It doesn't work out, go on next week. But you have limited number of days because you have that 45-day window. So it is very, very, very scary. It was something I was very anxious about, and I was like, what if it doesn't happen on time? Then we can get like legally married only after we have a honeymoon or something. So there were a lot of apprehensions during that time. It was a time we prayed a lot, and we were just hoping that everything works out. And so on the day of getting our registered marriage, I wore like a nice salwar because I knew we were going to take pictures, and I also wanted to look nice the day you remember, right? So we met up at Akash's house, and his parents, my parents, my sister, we all went together. We didn't have to pre-book any day. You can just go any of the days after the 30-day period to go to the SDM's office. You don't have to fix an appointment. So we just went around. We reached around 9 a.m. and we were just waiting in line. It wasn't open yet. It opens up at 10 a.m. So we just went there. We just showed our faces and told them, we want this token number. Like, can you give us a token number so that when it's time to stand in line, we are not like way behind in the line. And then we were waiting in line to get our documents. We met them again. They had our file. We brought copies of all our documents. They looked at all of it. They also took pictures of the witnesses, or pictures of our parents. They had them also sign the documents that we had previously signed. And then after that, we were waiting for the SDM to show up. The SDM came at around 11:30. And then we met him in his office. He just looked through the documents and he signed it, and that was that. We were married. It was it was very like kind of anticlimactic because it was like a day we were so stressed about, and we were looking forward to and waiting for so long, and he just started. We were like, okay, you're married, congrats. It was like, what? It was nice. We all took a picture together with him, and then we went to an office that was not over yet. We still had to get a challan done to pay the fees for the final registration. So then we went to another counter. We waited there at the other counter. I met another girl who was wearing the same outfit as me, and I was like, nice. And then after that, we stood at the counter. We paid, I think, 500 rupees. That's it. I think the whole, like the legal marriage process cost us definitely under 1,000 rupees, the whole process in itself. Incidentally, we met someone at the counter who got it all done through a lawyer. He was, I think, from a Hindu background, getting married to a Muslim girl, and he had hired a lawyer, and his entire process, fees, etc. came up to 25,000. So I would recommend that you would do it all yourself because it's really not that expensive. It'll just take a bit more of your time, but it's worth it. But if you feel like you need extra legal protection because of your background, you don't know, if family issues, etc., and you feel like you need that legal protection, then definitely go through a lawyer. They make the process easier and you feel safer. But yeah, that was the entire process. We started at 9, we ended by 12. We exchanged garlands there because why not? And then all of us went out for lunch, and it was a really nice, like surreal, like I had to pitch myself like, what, I'm married, like I'm married, what? So yes, getting married in a court does have its positives. It was a fairly easy process, and the pros are that it's fairly straightforward. You just have to give your details. Nobody makes it a big deal. The cons are that it might be a little anticlimactic for you if you've imagined your wedding day to be this like thing, and it's just like, okay, done. So yeah, overall I would say the experience was very positive. It was very easy, and especially at a time when there's so much communal tension and uncertainty, it's a huge relief. Sorry, I'm recording on my phone. My camera battery died. Overall, I would say the experience was very positive. No one mistreated us, asked us any questions that made us uncomfortable. All they cared about was your documents, that they were in place, they were right, and you had a gazillion copies of everything. And if you are planning to get married through the Special Marriage Act, then know that you can just drop any comments down below if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. And I would just say one thing, it's very unpredictable. as to when you'd get your appointment and when things would actually get done. So don't make any lunch reservations if you're going in the morning, because you don't know what time it would end. But I know a couple of people who went in were like in and out like half an hour. Some people who waited for like 4-5 hours because of some mix up, whatever. So just keep that day free, but otherwise it's a very smooth process. And I'm honestly so grateful that we have a provision like this, that allows people from two different religions to get married legally, and you have the government's protection in this manner. So that was a huge relief. And I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'd love to help you out. And happy wedding planning and whatever else you're doing. And even if you were just watching this for general information, I hope this helped. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.